Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. Yeah. You are now tuned into the Matthew and Rizzo show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. Yeah. You are now tuned into the Matthew and Rizzo show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. Yeah. You are now tuned into the Matthew and Rizzo show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. You are now tuned into the Matthew and Rizzo show. Yeah.
Hey everyone, it's Matthew. Before we begin this week's show, I just want to introduce this week's sponsor, Metacast Group. Metacast Group connects companies with creators in the NFT space through a network of NFT and metaverse-focused content creators and influencers. Hear or see your ad on shows just like the Matthew and Rizzle Show to amplify your reach, connect with your target audience, promote your project, and convert views into action. If you're interested in this, reach out at metaversegroup.com or follow us on Twitter at MetacastGroup. Thank you, and please enjoy the show.
Okay, Johan, welcome back to the Matthew and Rizzle Show.
Thank you. Good to be here again.
Repeat guest, yay. Always love that. And well, for our listeners, I know most everyone is going to be familiar with who you are, what you've been doing in the space. But it'd be great if you could kind of reintroduce yourself for all of our new listeners and everyone that may not be super familiar.
Sure. Briefly about me, I love building things. I've been building projects since high school, basically. My first company was a news aggregator for the browser that didn't really work out, but it led me to my second company, which was a publisher and ad tech project that was a lot more successful. So I started that in 2013 and worked on that all the way until 2016 when I got really interested in crypto. And then I couldn't think about anything else, really. So in 2017, I left to focus full time on crypto, and then in 18, full time on NFTs. And I started my first company in the crypto space or the NFT space early 2018, which was Marble Cards, now called Meme.com, a sort of umbrella company.
It's amazing to me that you guys snagged the website Meme.com. I was just talking about that. I was like, dude, like that in itself seems like a feat. You want to give people sort of like a brief overview if they're not familiar with Marble Cards, which in my opinion, dude, continues to be like sort of a standalone project. Like I haven't really seen anything like it since it's been created. And I know you're pivoting to the meme economy. So can you give folks like sort of the rundown on like what you're doing right this second?
Totally. So Marble Cards is still like my baby or our baby. We love working on it. It could be described, as Matthew eloquently put it a few years ago, like on-chain bookmarks. You take a link on the web that you really like, and today what you can do with it, well, you can share it on Twitter, or you can put it in your bookmarks, you can save it to your desktop or whatever. But when you marble something, it's like a glorified bookmark. You put it on chain, the URL, and it becomes like a frame to the original content. It's like a proof of fandom that you were early in believing in this, or for whatever reason you wanted to frame this thing as something important to you. So it's a collectible card game, you could say, with internet bookmarks.
And I mean, over the past few years, it's been amazing to watch folks, especially way back in the days of Cent. A lot of the old the Cent Mafia really fell in love with Marble Cards, and there's people marbling all over the place. Some people like to crazy excess. I know WGM Meets was like a huge early proponent of Marble Cards, and it was cool to see folks like literally bookmarking the internet through Marble Cards. But with you're the new kind of, it's, I don't want to say pivot, but you're just kind of like exploring new territory. And I think applying like new like lessons learned, the mechanics with meme, and the kind of diving into this meme economy, curating the internet almost from like a high level from my perspective. So I'm just wondering if you can kind of like walk folks through what you're doing now with memes.
Obviously, the space is very, like the NFT space, the Web3 sort of social coordination space is very, very new. And so we feel that with Marble, we achieved a few things. We were able to get people to care about web content that they were curating. So they're really passionate about putting together their card and saving it. And we do this because we want, the goal has always been that we want to use crypto incentives to measure the value of trends on the internet, of internet content. And Marble did that to some extent, or do that to some extent. I want to get into that as well, what we're doing to push that forward. But it hasn't been that good at actually determining the value of trends. Sure, you can look at how many cards are created around a certain topic, how many Doge cards are created, for example. But since there technically can be an infinite amount of Doge-related Marble cards, it's difficult to actually value them because there's no real scarcity. And so what we thought is, if Marble cards is sort of like a base, like one layer of crypto curation, then what if you have one layer on top of that that is more scarce, almost like we call it a meme market, but having one fungible token tied to one hashtag. So it could be a Doge or Hide the Pain Herald, or any type of hashtag really, where we will provide, or where we provide the tools for people to gather around it and create, provide creativity, or provide support in the form of sort of investments, basically, in investments as curation, basically.
Dude, I think you're scratching at something. And again, man, you were, like you said, going back to Marble cards, this like sort of exploring like how to quantify trends with NFTs. I appreciate that you're like poking around this territory that I feel like nobody else is really thinking about, which is what attracted me to the meme project, like overall, because I feel like, there's been so many like literal memes about the meme economy like existing out there for a while that I'm like, all right, these guys are actually trying to like create the meme economy and like flesh it out and structure it and everything. And I was like, that's a really interesting thing that nobody else is really working on. I'm just curious, man, like what has been the response to, you exploring this territory? Do people like think it's brilliant? Do people think it's a joke? Is it like somewhere like in between? Because, I genuinely think, and I feel like we've seen it play out like time and time again at this point. Like it's fairly obvious, like things can easily be memed to success. And Dogecoin is like a great example going like way back that, it was like a nothing thing that just sort of got like, memed into orbit, and you were still here talking about it. So yeah, man, what's been the response from people when they're like learning about what you're doing?
So earlier this year, we raised a substantial seed round based on this concept. So on the investor side, the response has been great. And I think as a concept, a meme market, a functioning meme market, is something that appeals to a lot of people. The question is, how do you get it right? And it's not like this will be the only meme market. The meme market already exists. We already see it in the NFT space. Like that's literally meme markets. People are buying and pumping penguins, and then the next day they're pumping something else, and it's just a matter of how strong is the meme that they're pumping. But what we want to do is we want to take a part of all of it and sort of, as you said, try to make that, try to crystallize what are the trends, and then being able to compare them against each other to create a sort of a measurement of popularity on these different trends. Because we think that if you get that in place, and any trend can be pitted against another, and anyone who discovers a trend on the internet, anybody anywhere say, okay, this is a new trend that I really believe in. I want to get exposure to this. They should be able to come to meme.com and have the tools available to get involved, either creatively or speculatively. And then if that trend later takes off, they will reap the profits. So back to your question, what's the reception been? Well, the people who take time to understand it, they are very, very excited. But it's the same with marble cards. How do we? The problem that we're tackling is not easy to explain, and the solutions at this point are not easy to explain. And so that is the challenge that we're facing now. How can we package this into something that people can understand and relate to and actually want to get involved in? And I think we have some great things coming up there that I would like to just briefly touch upon for both Marble and meme.
Before you kind of like touch on those, and maybe this will help you touch on them deeper, but just sort of like brass tacks, how do you expect folks to kind of interact with these meme coins to invest in the memes? I think up until now, especially over the past like 6 months or so, and specifically pretty much exclusively on Foundation, people have literally been able to buy some of these like old internet memes, right? So I don't know if Salt Bae has kind of gotten into the fray, but like the girl who looks back with house burning behind her, like I think she sold her meme on Foundation. A bunch of other folks for like hundreds of thousands of dollars have sold their memes, so people can literally buy those memes, I guess. How does that, via NFTs, how does that differ with what you're building out with your meme economy and the meme coins that you're talking about?
So it's a very good question. What's been sold there, I almost consider it like, I mean, obviously that is the original in some cases, or in most cases. You take the Nyan Cat, which I think is a clean example. What was sold there was sort of the initial art piece for Nyan Cat, and now the creators making derivatives and selling those. But I think a huge part of memes are the remixes and all the people that engage with the memes and sort of make them become popular memes. Because without remixers of either Pepe or Nyan Cat or Doge or whatever, they wouldn't be anything today. They would just maybe be a piece of art somebody created some time ago that, you know, nobody's talking about anymore. And so what we want to build is the tools that allows all those people that remix and believe in something and help promote it and tell the story, that they can come together to create an entity where they can provide creativity to the benefit of everyone else involved, or they can provide capital to the benefit of everyone else involved. And then the value of those things should reflect like the belief in this trend as a whole, and not only in the like one person buying an NFT and holding on to that, if that makes sense. I mean, it's very, yeah.
Yeah, like, is there any concrete example, or like when folks actually start creating these meme tokens, like how will it work? Like for people that aren't like at an abstract level, I think I understand it, but like in the day-to-day, when the meme economies start taking off, what will it?
So the way it will work is anyone can come to the site. They're already, it's in a beta stage now. So you can go in and there are 4 different meme coins. So think of them as tokens, ERC20s, basically using a bonding curve. So the more people buy, it goes down, and if people sell, it goes up, and if people sell, it goes down. And that is one side of it. That's the supply-demand side that measures the value of the trends against each other. But then the other side is actually, what am I buying? Why should I hold one of these coins? And there, that we think is the interesting part. And what we do there is, when you own one of these coins, you effectively own a share of what we call a meme club. And a meme club consists of 1, tokens, such as when you trade the meme coin, fees go into the treasury of the club. But more importantly, meme creators, think of back to the Rare Pepe days where people just created memes and sent them in. Meme creators can create memes. It's like Rare Pepe, but for any meme. So they can create a meme about "this is fine," for example, and submit that to the club. And when they do that, it gets tokenized in additions, and the club owns collaboratively those NFTs. And if any of them sell, the creator takes one cut and the club takes another, and they all work together to sort of promote this, not only to sell, but also just promote awareness of this meme and the story they're building with all these We call them meme art. It's essentially taking memes one step further. Hopefully there will be some curation mechanic, which means that a bit higher effort memes than what you maybe can create in a meme generator online is what these storyboards will consist of. But that we'll see. But we call it meme art just to prove that meme creators, they're effectively artists, and anybody can be a meme creator. But yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, Johan, my like low key goal is to sort of like troll your whole thing with like super low effort memes from meme generator and try and like beat out some of the like the super super high effort ones.
And that's what I like, because you never know what works and what doesn't, and so you could very well be right. And if somebody is going to achieve that, then I guess it's you. So bring it on, I would say.
Yeah, man. Can you? One of the things, honestly, dude, and I guess full disclosure for the audience who doesn't know, I've been like talking with Johan and am I believe, overlord of all the things, working a couple hours a week, just sort of kicking ideas around with meme economy. And honestly, dude, one of like the coolest things that I think you guys got in your tool chest is this arena that I know is like fully active within the marble cards economy. I've been encouraging Johan to like, bring that into the meme economy with the battles. But dude, the Polygon interface, like over the, battle arena where you're essentially putting up two things and people can vote on which one is better, is honestly one of like the slickest Polygon integrations that I've seen across like any platform, just in terms of being able to like streamline, voting events and just, put up two NFTs and choose which one's the best. Do you see those things being like part of the community within the meme economy? And I would love to see like competitions and like that kind of thing, and possibly meme Matt into like oblivion at some point.
Absolutely. So the arena is like, it's a curation mechanic at its core. We use it for marble cards to determine what are the best cards within a certain category. So it could be the best movie cards or the best cards overall or the best sports cards and so on. And so what we're doing now is we will open that up for all NFTs. So you will be able to send in any NFT by staking a small amount of meme. And if your card does well, you earn back a lot more. And the way it works is there are people who come in and vote on these cards. You have this hot or not setup, as you mentioned, two NFTs battle against each other. And then you just vote on which one do I like best. And as you vote, you also earn meme coin, which is our platform token for doing that. So it's pay to earn for curating cards or for battling your cards / NFTs against each other. And how we will do this. So we have two very clear goals for everything we do, both Marble Cards and meme.com. We have two very clear goals. The first one is we want each outcome to measure the value of content or trends online. So with Marble Cards, we measure the value of URLs and trends and categories. And then with meme.com, we will do that for NFTs and for memes. And then the second part is we want to reward content creators and curators. So people who spend time either creating or giving their opinion on what they like best in the form of memes and tokens and content and so on. So definitely the arena will be one core component of how do we rank all of this in a good way.
Yes. Yeah. Anytime you can fight NFTs and art and collectibles, I'm there for that all day, every day. But I want to go back to what you're talking about and how you're kind of unpacking like meme.com and how you're seeing like the meme tokens and meme token holders specifically heading forward, which is, it's sort of like a group of internet friends who sort of like align around a specific meme. And it sounds like there's a mechanism for them based on their percentage share of a specific meme token to kind of profit from future memes that are created that are somehow sold potentially and distributed back to those token holders proportionally. I'm not sure if I was grokking what you were saying 100%.
Oh, it's definitely correct. It's definitely correct.
Okay. So where will they sell things? What can they sell? Like, I feel like that's the last thing that in my mind is a question mark. I can guess, but
so we're currently working. We're very much conceptualizing as we go along. We sort of put out the first step. People can buy into some meme tokens now. We're working on next step. What am I actually buying? What am I getting for this and contributing to?
Yeah.
And so we see it conceptually as a sort of museum, like a meme museum, where people submit these pieces, and the best ones get put up in fancy frames on the walls and so on. And anyone, these ones have a price in the contract, so anybody can buy them using the meme token if they like them. If they want one of the NFTs pulled out of the museum into their own hands, then they can pay. They can buy them straight up, and that those fees or that payment gets distributed to both token holders and to the artist or the creator. But that's not only the only way to benefit. So the whole system, as it ranks trends and content against each other, the best performing trends, both in the arena and based on other stats, will also get rewards from the token system itself. So we have this token model essentially that rewards the best performing things across the network. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's beginning to become clear to me.
But the
it's
issue,
like...
so the issue, or quote unquote issue, the challenge, like the narrative we need to nail is a lot of memes. Obviously, they're remixes of existing things, and so going out and blatantly, creating a remix. I know that OpenSea, for example, we were talking to some of the high-profile meme creators, and they have a big issue with OpenSea removing their stuff because in one meme, they remixed 5 seconds from a movie. Okay, OpenSea won't handle that. How should we handle that? Maybe sometimes you don't actually sell the thing, but you're sort of like this, the ICO approach back in the day. You're contributing to the project, but then you're getting some valueless stuff back. So that's what we need to balance in how do people get rewarded? What do you actually get? What are you buying and selling? So how can we, because in the end, can you sell memes? We definitely believe so. We're firmly believers in that the current copyright system is not, with tokens and with proper attribution and being able to tell what originals are and what aren't, remixing things are positive. It brings more eyes to the original creations. And so it should be rewarded rather than opposed to some people. I know that the crypto space is very pro remixing in general, but that's what we want to sort of spearhead. How do we monetize remixing in a way that makes sense for as many people as possible?
Yeah, focusing on the remix aspect, I think is important because, like you said, like it is sort of central to internet culture up until this point. It's propelled a lot of different, like of just the history of the internet to the forefront of popular consciousness, right? And makes it a familiar place, brings people back. Thinking just again about this framework that you're setting up, it's really interesting just from the coordination perspective, bringing people together, sort of like purchasing these meme tokens is almost a way of like staking their curatorial sense, that if they're able to kind of gain consensus amongst their like fellow meme token holders to curate a specific remix or work, that they can then kind of put on the market that could potentially be sold and then have those profits redistributed along those token holder ownership lines. I think that's really interesting because this is giving users or individuals like this ability to not just like something like with a valueless heart on Twitter or something. They're like literally giving them a potential stake in future profit because people are buying these things, are buying memes, are buying remixes. So that's the part that's really interesting to me. And it's almost like focusing on a meme and a remix of the meme definitely is something that these meme token holders can do. But it's almost like, well, if you fast forward 3 to 5 years, there could be a particular group of meme token holders that like, again, let's go. I don't know why I'm going back to Salt Bay. He's not even in the NFT scene yet, as far as I know, but like Salt Bay token holders all of a sudden curate this like museum worthy group of remixes and just like art too. It seems like, right? That somehow aligns with their meme sensibility. That's something that's like open-ended and really up to the folks who kind of believe and rallied around the meme to begin with. There's something there that's really interesting to me personally.
Yeah, obviously, I totally agree. But I think I think if one thing we can achieve is lowering the barrier of being able to be rewarded for your creativity, even if you're not maybe like me, the most artistic person, or you don't have the most, well-developed Photoshop skills. If I can still, because I have a story to tell and I, copy paste, but I do it in a nice way and people respond to it. If this can be a tool for me and it'll allow more people to enter the creative realm, I think that's super interesting as well.
Dude, I will 100% co-sign on that. Johan showed me how to use some like shitty meme generator from like 10 years ago, and I got pretty good with it, man. People seem to dig my like really low effort memes, and it's fun. I genuinely feel like it's like a new creative tool in my tool chest that was like super easy to figure out and goof around with. Johan, dude, I would be really interesting to like sort of zoom way out. I feel like, sort of, examining trends or like, paying attention to trends or trying to quantify trends has sort of been like a common thread in multiple projects of yours. And, as someone like yourself who's, been looking at these things within the crypto, like NFT space for, since inception, essentially, especially with the NFT space, I'm just curious, like what your broad overview is in terms of like, what the trends have been or are trending towards, or like, I don't know, just like the overall trend, like landscape, memescape, where we are and where we're headed type of thing. I don't even know if that like totally makes sense, but I feel like, you're paying attention to something that is really powerful that a lot of people are probably overlooking right now in terms of like how to explore this in like a thoughtful way and, put crypto into it and everything. So, yeah, man, what's like the broad stroke overview that you've learned, like, throughout the course of all these projects?
Good question. I think, so if the trend that we are excited about, if you pinpoint it, it's essentially like coordination around things on the internet and providing entertainment value and sort of belonging and just having fun with each other. And I think looking at things like, essentially the metaverse and stuff, it's a place where you can work and have fun and sort of spend a lot of your time. And I think for us, if we can be a place where people come to use memes as a storytelling mechanism and be able to have fun, the really, really good ones are actually able to make a living out of it or support themselves doing it. And on the other end, being able to output really, really amazing NFTs, like the high-end NFTs, and pushing the concept of memes forward and the memetics of things and bringing more awareness to, because now when I talk to people, you're doing memes, but what is memes actually? And so do you know Pepe or do you know Doge? Like, maybe, I'm not sure. If we're able to, as you say, quantify these things and put a value to them, I think that will also entice more people to actually start caring what are the actual important things going on here. How do I get involved? Because I actually want to understand this. I want to understand this type of culture because maybe I can benefit from it using these tools. So summarize, push the meme economy forward, be able to bring on more people, both as creators and people that can profit both emotionally and using entertainment, but also financially if they're good at predicting these things. But yeah, it's very it's very vague, I guess.
No, dude, I mean, sorry, go ahead, Matt.
Oh yeah. First of all, I just wanted to say I think we saw a glimpse into like how Johan approaches dating. Like I can totally see a first date scenario with Johan. He's just like, "Hey, do you know Pepe?" And he'll just screen the girl from there.
I would probably go deeper. Do you know me and the boys? Do you know?
Just like, this is fine.
Just throw out meme references all the time and see what they catch. That's amazing.
But the thing is, I mentioned with myself, because ever since beginning with Marble Cards, we started with Know Your Meme as the first site, right? And then initially forced everybody in the community to understand, okay, what are the valuable cards and so on. And I noticed myself more and more as I converse with people, when I try to express a feeling or something, it's like, do you know that meme, with the guy doing this thing or the girl doing this thing? It's like, no, I don't know this thing. And so hopefully more people will get to that point where you can just, that one. Oh yeah, and that one. And then it's just conversing using those.
Dude,
Totally.
I really feel like on some like basic level, like if I'm a shit poster meme maker and this gets to the point where like if I'm making memes, why would I not post them up to an economy where I could potentially profit off of it versus just dropping it on Reddit or dropping it on Twitter first? Like, it would seem to be like, why would I not, try and enter it into a contest or, that kind of thing. So,
I mean, totally. And if you take like Pepe, for example, imagine if this would have been around as a fully developed thing, and we're not there, obviously, but when we've put a lot of effort and developed it further, take Pepe, the first piece of art launches, right? And then somebody said, hey, you should submit this to this registry, this meme registry. And then that goes in. And then the first remix comes. And then the guy who were actually pushing it in these forums that made it spread really fast, and that guy comes in. And so all of these people who are attributed to provide relevancy and distribution to Pepe, they are all credited in this chain of events that sort of pushes the thing forward and bigger. I think it can be super cool, but yeah.
Yeah, it's that flywheel of not just like, okay, I'm not going to post it to Reddit. I'm going to do this on meme. You know what I mean? It's everything. So it's like,
you should post it everywhere. You should post it everywhere.
Exactly.
But there needs to be a chain of events that shows, okay, what are the things? What are the remixes?
Yeah.
And so on.
I think the really underappreciated part of this is the fact that, okay, this is sort of banking on the fact that more and more people are going to be entering the space meaning like the NFT space or NFT land, that are intrigued by the fact that people are making like millions of dollars selling JPEGs. So like, what is going on here? People are in these virtual worlds. They're curious. They're clicking through. They're trying to get these experiences, right? And you're focused on just providing some basic tools, some interesting kind of mechanics for people to kind of get their hands on to try to explore deeper. I think that's brilliant, right? Because right now we're seeing a lot of people have their interest piqued coming into the space. A lot of people probably don't want to spend thousands, tens of thousands of dollars on JPEGs right now. They're not there yet, but they're willing to come to like the WIP meetup, right? It's a virtual experience. They can kind of get their hands on some crypto. They're kind of getting deeper down the rabbit hole. And then meme.com is this other place that'll kind of lure people down the rabbit hole more. And it's like, okay, what is this? I can get this meme token, become part of this club, and like we can remix things. And like that's a dope like remix right there. I'm going to go take that and put it on Reddit. People on Reddit are going to get like all the lols. But then there's this direct association that folks could talk about and probably will be incentivized to talk about. Like, you can actually scoop this and buy this and collect this. Like, you had a great moment in this Reddit forum. Go buy that like memory or something like that, or however people frame it. And then those original kind of meme token holders benefit from that. And people are like, what the fuck? People benefited from that? And you know what I mean? Like, there's all these other questions and answers that are opened up, and kind of like people are more incentivized to ask or look for as they head forward in this kind of like Web3 like metaverse that's unfolding in front of their eyes. This is really deep. This is really a fun project, and again, like that focus on regular people, giving them these tools and the frameworks is supremely interesting.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. And it's been a thing from the start, right? Also with marble cards, I almost consider marble cards, that's like one template of content curation. You make it a collectible card, but a lot of people can relate to that. But then you have this other template, which is like this fancy meme art, with a cool frame and like a painting and different dimensions. So it's just another piece of a template, basically. But then you're using these things to signal belief, or to put them against other pieces of content to see what people like, and so on. So, yeah. It's I think we have one of the lowest time frames in the NFT space. Just working on stuff, being very quiet. But yeah, it's a very satisfactory to work on this every day and just trying to get it right, because it's such a difficult problem to solve, and I hope we will get it right. But yeah, it's very very interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the ecosystem expanding, getting healthier is probably like any good news in the NFT space is going to help in some shape, way, or fashion, meme.com. But I think there's also a lot of things that are happening that are probably like not to the benefit of like improving people's perception of what's happening here, right? I'm just curious because Johan, you're known for your supremely spicy hot takes. Like if you're looking at this broader ecosystem of ours that that we've been in for years already, like what's your spiciest take that you can formulate about things that are happening, not happening? I'm curious to hear from your perspective.
Yeah, no, good question. I have a lot of things I'm thinking about. It could turn out either way, but yeah. So obviously, one just today on the you guys know that we time to time we get some angry like artists and creators who think that people marbling their stuff is a bad thing. We do have some products coming out that will remedy that to some extent, but But when I see things like Pepe Creator today, Matt Fury, shutting down like a Pepe project on OpenSea after having sold the Jabba the Hutt pegs for like 120 ETH, that I think is such a bad look, and I hope that will just go away. That I guess is one. So I hope the current copyright situation, it will just essentially
say
go
more,
away.
man.
I believe
Unpack that, dude. Why is that a bad look in your opinion?
Because in one end he's remixing Star Wars Jabba the Hutt to profit, and then in the other end somebody remixing his meme, which is popular only because people have remixed it, he gets that taken down. I think it's a poor look. The other hot take, I guess, I think it's a bad look when people are debating like this whole metadata and shitting on OpenSea for their metadata stuff. I think it's important and on-chain metadata like art blocks and stuff, that's awesome. But going and shitting on other projects because they're not doing it maybe the same way you are, just because you're pumping your bags, I think that's a bad look. I hope that all NFTs on OpenSea, no matter where they host anything, will be around because OpenSea will be around and they will be sort of caretakers of this whole story that everybody's telling. And so I hope that people will be shitting less on each other and then just, promoting everything. But yeah, that's my take.
Dude, how do you reconcile the two, right? Where we're like sort of, putting so much trust in OpenSea, yet at the same time, OpenSea is sort of subject to the whims of like giant Pepe influencers, and that kind of thing. Like how does that sort of shake out, moving forward?
If I were OpenSea, I would be looking at decentralizing. And I know that Sushi they're also launching a decentralized NFT marketplace. I do think that all NFT metadata and images are one. Obviously, you have things like Arweave and stuff. Somebody could just, do like an incentivized porting platform that would move over like a layer with all metadata and all images, move it over there. But I think that there will come more platforms or solutions that allows you to do that. Okay, I want to support the NFT ecosystem. Here's a platform that lets me save everything and provide this hash with all the data, like a mining network almost. So I believe, maybe we're not there yet, but I believe that the story we're all building here, from the quote unquote low quality OpenSea storefronts to the high quality art blocks and avatars and stuff, it will all be a part, and it will be there hopefully forever. And so yeah, I hope again people should shit less on people and just try to help each other more.
Less shit.
Yeah, just less shitting on people.
Love it.
It's amazing. It's a controversial take, but it actually is. I think a lot of people like this controversy and stirring up the shit pot.
Yeah, and I mean, they like to pump their own bags. That's what they like to do.
Yeah. No, 100%. And yeah, unfortunately, it's not always apparent, especially to just casual observers on Twitter, for example, seeing people get into spats, not understanding that the reason why like Beanie and Pranksy are feuding all of a sudden is probably highly related to certain bags that the former holds,
Yeah.
blah, 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 right? It's very, we've seen this play before many, many times. But I kind of want to go back to the original creator, like Matt Fury, you taking the example of the Pepe creator, right? Like taking something down that, again, like he's kind of the progenitor of this meme that benefited from the fact that people were able to remix it, and then he's taking a particular
And also
remix down
remixed Star Wars a
for
few days
whatever
earlier and
reason.
sold it for 120, which is, I don't know how much it is, but several hundred K.
Yeah, a ridiculous amount of money, right? So how do you see, because this is something that keeps coming up, and there's certain artists, and again, there's artists and then there's creators, and I feel like there's a really big, a very important distinction there, where a lot of artists are like, this is my art, I created this, like it needs to be protected in some shape, way, or fashion. But there's another tension where it's like, well, the more people that see this and the more people that see it in whatever shape or fashion, it benefits the creator. And you're seeing certain projects kind of be much looser with the actual like rights behind it. I'm thinking about like Avastars and Bored Ape Yacht Clubs, who have adopted this, whether they're calling it a nifty license or just like letting the end purchaser, the collector, kind of retain this commercial rights to the whatever like image of the series that they purchase to do whatever they want with,
if you own
which
it,
is great for many perspectives.
Yeah.
If you own it, right? So it helps spread that particular image, or if you want to call it a meme, and associated with the whole like group that they came from. Like it's great. And I feel like you're starting to see people really run with that and show the power of like unleashing the meme, so to speak, with the underlying owners of these assets. But a lot of artists aren't there, probably won't get there anytime soon. How do you see the best approach to kind of spreading awareness of the actual power and benefits of conferring these rights to the owners, right? The right to remix, things like that. And then like, how do you see, or like, for example, your role in preventing any abuse of that? Like someone taking someone's image and like putting a swastika or something on top of it and remixing it in that way.
I think the final part, that's obviously a critical thing. If the remix you do is, lack of a better word, bad, such as it's, it uses a swastika, or it's, in some way hurting other people or other groups of people, then it shouldn't be allowed, is my take. But being allowed is just not being shown in the like UIs. You should still be able to create it, because otherwise you won't be able to draw those lines. And obviously things like a straight up copy, if I take a piece of art and I put it on Rarible, that's an ultra shitty remix. It's not even a remix, so that shouldn't be, I don't want to say allowed, because as soon as you stop allowing things, you push back innovation. But it should be shut down, right, and like proven shut down, so you could use that data and that statistics to build on. And taking it, the next step is obviously you have artists. Some artists put in their heart and soul and emotions into it, and seeing a remix, or in the case of marble cards, their image in the circle, like totally understand that can seem strange when those things are tokenized and put up on sale on OpenSea. And so that is something I personally believe that it adds value to the original. And I think that the whole thing, again, with NFTs is that you're able to prove the original, but still you need to be you need to listen to that and make sure that if somebody wants something taken down, for example, it should be hidden from the UIs. That said, I hope that as we progress and as more and more people understand tokenization and the ability to prove originality and ownership and who created what, that seeing something tokenized will mean the same, like it will have no greater meaning than seeing somebody link to the image in a blog or an Instagram or something, because in my mind, it's the same thing. That token, unless you're trying to counterfeit it, as long as it's clearly a remix of some form, then it doesn't matter. What you have is the original, and then people are running with that, and hopefully it will push what you're doing further. Some people, again, they won't want that, but I do think that is the culture that will prevail in the end, because one, I do think that it benefits everybody involved as long as it's done with a good intent. And two, it pushes innovation because there are no bottlenecks. Everything is open, and we see the power of open networks. It's the essence of crypto. And so having these open networks of content remixing and content distribution and just being able to run with things that you like and try to push them forward and push them in new directions, I think it is too powerful to oppose. But that's my take, and I know that other people have other takes. Going back to like the nifty license Avastars, it's good. I'd rather see that they just don't care about it and let people remix whatever Avastars they want, because that would put Avastars in front of more people. But yeah, I can see the other side as well, even though I think it's less optimal.
No, dude, we were just having this conversation last week with Vertical Crypto and talking about how, we're sort of like entering a new period where people, I feel like, are trying to apply the old mousetraps to like the new technology, where we could we not even like count whether you agree with them or not. Like centralized organizations were deciding what content is available, what content we see, what content you can consume. And I feel like a lot of people want to apply those principles to this situation, but the cat is sort of out of the decentralized bag at this point. And so, yeah, how do you navigate that situation like tactfully while also not stifling innovation and, discouraging people from, trying new things and, exploring new creative avenues? Dude, I respect the fact that like you have taken a stance right on the cutting edge of that argument, man, and have sort of dug your heels on. And I feel like, the space really needs people like that to, make everyone else sort of scratch their heads and say like, all right, how do we navigate situations like this moving forward? Because it's bound to continue to come up, for everyone who's doing it with good intentions like you are. As the space continues to grow, we're going to have some bad actors come in and do it with bad intentions. And that's just the inevitable, result of, parabolic growth. So, dude, I think what you're doing is really important, sort of cloaked in a really funny, memey environment. But that's one of the things I love about it. Matt, dude, I'd love to shake Johan down, dude, but do you have any other questions for him?
So I'm super curious to hear what Johan's been collecting in the interim. Like, what kind of bags is he holding?
Yeah, dude. You know how we like to shake people down, see what they've been doing on the side, collecting that's unrelated to their projects. You've been up to anything behind the scenes just for fun?
Yes. It's, I mean, being in the NFT space is like constant FOMO, which is obviously good and bad, but I think I'm up to like 1,800 NFTs or something. But obviously I collect,
Flex.
art blocks. I've been with the start trying to collect all of them. I did miss Fidenzas though, unfortunately.
Oh no. What a project to miss. Jesus Christ.
But I have most of the others. But I'm still, I have a lot of Axes, a lot of Mystic Axes. I love those. But I'm still mostly excited. Every time I go back to CryptoVoxels, it's like, I have Marble Tower. Getting back there is so sentimental to me. And so once every couple of months, I go there, put up my latest stuff. So I think it's strange that I haven't seen a bigger interest in virtual worlds. I think that is on aggregate. It's the most exciting area to me. And yeah, I don't think I wouldn't call that area hyped or anything at the moment. So I think that will be very interesting to see how that develops. Other than that, I've been buying some of the PFPs. I don't know about that, but some of them are kind of fun.
Name names.
I mean,
name
yeah,
names.
impossible to avoid.
I've been pretty good at finding, like, picking the right ones. I bought cool cats, penguins, obviously Bored Apes, and I have punks from before, and what other? There are so many right now. But yeah, so currently I tend to FOMO like one NFT on a daily basis, but if I were to be objective, I kind of think we're reaching a point where something else is needed to be interesting. Some kind of utility or some kind of multidimensional thing, rather than opposed to a static or even an animated image. And so I hope we will see more of that. And that's what I think. I think in that category, virtual worlds land as well. Yeah,
Totally.
but yeah, continuous collector of NFTs.
Total degen, 100% certified. But with going back to the virtual world before we wrap up and thinking about where that's going, obviously Rizzle and myself have a huge vested interest there. Like, we have like the longest running metaverse meetup with the whip that we've been doing since the early part of 2020, every Thursday, 12 p.m. And like, it's cool to see how people are still excited by what's going on, but there's definitely like a lull, right? We're waiting for something more. I'm curious from your perspective, even though we do have a lot of shared history in CryptoVoxel specifically, right? Like, we were talking about this yesterday, Johan. Every time we go in there, like, we can see, like, for example, next week when we host the whip at Marble Towers and we go to the jumping course, like, we'll have this immediate, like, nostalgic flashback to when we did it last year and like the fucking fun times we had there. Trippy Yogi getting stuck in like a lower platform, not being able to complete the jumping game, and like all these memories that we formed there, which are really powerful. And I think we see like that there is a future in the NFT space that will enrich everyone's kind of lives and experiences and just what they've been buying and collecting up into this point in the NFT space. But what's lacking and what do we need in the virtual worlds to make them, I guess, more exciting to the folks that aren't currently deep down that rabbit hole with us?
Yeah, it's a very good question. And so when I show people NFTs, when I sort of try to red pill them, I immediately show them Marble Tower and like show this is my crib where I put up all my best stuff, and I see that, you know, more and more people respond to that. And so I think one side of it is just, you know, more general appreciation of NFTs. The more people that get into it and see the value and want to collect them, they will also see the value of having a space where you can put them up. And I think there are two approaches. So currently you're seeing some new projects coming up where they're just providing you with a showroom. That's one approach. And then the other approach is having like this cityscape where people build and everybody has access to the same world. I personally like that part where you have a connecting world much, much better. It's no contest for me. Who knows which is the right one, but I think it's that one. But to make it more intriguing for more people, I think that what you're doing with the whip, I'm actually curious to know what your how your engagement is looking, if it's going up or if it's going down or if it's flat. But I think more things similar to what you're doing that allows people to just, you know, get entertainment value, and for people to create stuff, to get an outlet to show off things and sell them and so on. I think that is the right approach. And I think as more and more people adapt that and do that, that will take it a long way. I'm personally not as excited about building games in these worlds because games already exist. And yes, you can, you know, if there's a shared game world, yes, there might be some interesting results of that. But I think it's rather just having this space where everybody tell their story and put up their passions and, you know, just show cool stuff. I hope that is what brings the first iteration of these virtual worlds to a broader mass. So I personally am not a super bullish on the more advanced stuff rather than the collaborative story there that is told. And that's why I'm so excited about Crypto Voxels, because in my mind, it's the only place that's actually grown out like a real city. All the other projects, they've had like this map and you can just buy land anywhere, and there's like no point where things grow out of. And so, yeah. But again, it's very hard to say. Obviously, it will depend on what possibilities arise and what areas. But I think the personality and the property rights of Crypto Voxels enable people to tell really, really, really interesting stories. And I hope that is what works out the first, because that's what I personally most believe in. But yeah, it's very hard to say.
I love that. I have a lot of hot takes.
I would love to hear them.
I have a lot of hot takes on that. And actually, I really do disagree with like your central thesis there with the gaming aspect. But yeah, we'll dig into it after this. But I want to end here because I feel like that's a really beautiful place to end.
Johan,
it's really
fun.
Fun.
Fight with you.
We'll take our fight offline. No, just joking. Dude, I love chatting with you. I feel like every time we talk, I hear a more distilled vision of what you've always been seeing, and it's easier to understand. And I feel like even more people are going to vibe with what you're doing with the meme economy and Meme Explorer, meme.com. Really excited for that. And just really want to thank you again for taking the time out, come chopping it up with Rizzo and myself. Thank you, man. But before we do go, please let folks know where they need to follow you, what important dates they need to bookmark in their minds heading forward for Meme and Marble and all the good things that you have planned.
I'm most active in Discord, in the Meme Explorers Discord. So there's a link on our Twitter at Meme Explorers. They can follow me on Twitter as well. I'm not that active there, but I'm a lurker. In terms of dates, obviously the whip next Thursday, people shouldn't miss that. Aside from that, we will have some cool auctions with some artist marble cards coming up in the near weeks. But the big launch, I think, will be when we release the Genesis meme art with some of the top artists in the space. I think that will be a collection of 7 pieces of meme art that will stay around for a long time.
Awesome. Well, Johan, thank you once again for chopping it up with us, and yeah, keep on creating, brother.
Oh yeah.
Thanks, guys. That was awesome.
Thanks, dude.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening to this week's show. Before we go, just want to remind you once again about this week's sponsor, Metacast Group. Metacast Group connects companies with creators in the NFT space through a network of NFT and metaverse-focused content creators and influencers. So if you want to hear or see your ad on shows just like the Matthew and Rizzo show, to amplify your reach, connect with your target audience, promote your project, and convert views into action, reach out to us at metacastgroup.com or follow us at Metacast Group on Twitter. Thank you, and see you all the next episode.